We just got through meeting in regards to, well, I would believe is happening in America, a double pandemic, the coronavirus. And then we have this other virus that's going on that we're seeing in Minneapolis with what happened to George Floyd. And that virus is racism.
Thank you, Pastor Porter, and thank you to all of those that were assembled here, are assembled here behind the cameras, that took the time to reach out and connect, not just with me, to one another, to talk about the state, not only of the state of California, but the state of this nation and more broadly the world that we live in. Today's meeting, like so many that I've had, are humbling. The voices of concern, consternation, anxiety are real, and I recognize foundationally and fundamentally that so often people in my position are inadequate to the moment. So often we try to meet the moment with rhetoric. We feign resolve. We make a point to assert a new paradigm, and yet over and over and over and over again, we hear the names of those whose lives have been lost, have been taken, justice that was never advanced, and communities continuing to feel that they're not only being torn asunder, but not being listened to. Over and over and over again, we fail to rationalize the goodwill, and we fail to materialize and manifest the ideals that we so often assert. And so I come here today, a place of worship, humbled by that past, humbled by the fact that I've been part of that past as a former county supervisor, as a former mayor, as a former lieutenant governor, as a governor of the nation's largest state. The question I have to ask myself, the question we have to ask ourselves, are we capable of not just meeting this moment, but capable of doing justice to the moments in front of us? I could put together a group of advisors. I could put together a task force. I could promise and promote a few pieces of legislation. But I said this on Friday, I'll say it again, program passing is not problem solving. You got to change hearts, minds, you got to change culture, not just laws. And we have to own up to some very difficult things. The black community is not responsible for what's happening in this country right now. We are. We are. Our institutions are responsible. We are accountable to this moment. Let's just call that out. We have a unique responsibility to the black community in this country, and we've been playing lip service about that for generations. Generations. Just things move away in headlines, and we indulge on the margins, but we don't systemically, foundationally address the root of these issues. We prune. We don't tear out the institutional racism from all of our institutions, large and small. We don't. And we know that. And the community knows that. You're seeing that manifested out in the streets the last 5 days. They know that. The question is, do we deeply understand that? Do we, or are we prepared to do something differently about it? Each and every one of us watching, what are we going to do differently, foundationally, fundamentally, not in the short run, but in the long run, to do justice to this moment? People have lost patience because they haven't seen progress. So if you're out there saying, well, people need to be patient, consider. People have lost patience for a reason. They've been told that over and over and over and over again, not just the 52 years I've been around. My parents, my grandparents, their parents' generation heard the same. Just be patient. Heck, I've quoted Dr. King on ad nauseum, a long arch of history bends towards justice. We've made progress. But this is a manifestation of everything we've been promoting that we haven't delivered. People have lost patience. And if leaders are going to meet not just this moment, but the moments in front of us, we better start listening. We better start hearing people. We better own up to our own responsibility, own accountability that led to this moment. Society becomes how we behave. We are our behaviors. Each and every one of us has an obligation to do more and better. And folks, in my position, more still. I get that. I own that. But leaders can be found everywhere. Leadership's not just some fancy title. We are desperate for leadership in this country, desperate for leadership in the state of California, desperate for leadership in communities large and small. Leaders can be found anywhere. You don't have to be something to do something, to soften the edges, and in the spirit of Bobby Kennedy, make more gentle the life of this world. Dr. King didn't wait to become President of the United States to exercise his authority. Every day he shared his moral authority. Each and every one of us has the capacity to exercise their moral authority every day. And we need moral leaders, now more than ever. Each and every one of us has that capacity. It resides inside of us. It's our capacity to lead by example, to find our better angels, to focus on the things that unite us, not what divide us, and to reinforce a sense of optimism because we recognize we have to do things differently, and we're resolved to prove that, not just assert that, and to hold ourselves to account, because each of us will be judged and judge each other to the extent we do justice and advance our cause in a different way. And so I am here as your governor, humbled over the course of the last 5 days, resolved to keep the peace, but recognizing that an armed camp is not a place of peace, and that the answer to violence is not more violence, and that if we're going to create the conditions to truly advance police, people have to know we mean it, and they have to know that they matter and we care. And so for those of you that are out there protesting, I want you to know you matter. And I want you to know I care, we care. And I don't want to just demonstrate that rhetorically. I want you to know that I have a unique responsibility to prove that to you, not just assert it. You've lost patience, so have I. You are right to feel wronged. You are right to feel the way you are feeling. And we, collectively, society has a responsibility to you to be better and to do better. When you're out there to exploit conditions, not advance the cause of justice, that is not serving the greater good, and we need to also call that out. The looting, the violence, the threats against fellow human beings, that has no place in this state and in this nation. And those that want to express themselves and have, thank you. God bless you. Keep doing it. Your rage is real. Express it so that we can hear it. Let's not let others drown out that rage. And those that want to advance this cause in a responsible and thoughtful way. I'm not patient any longer. I know you're not. We hear you, and we have a responsibility now to prove to you, not just to assert, that we're capable of being more and doing better as a society and a community. But there is a stain in the history of this country we have concealed, and it's rearing its head again because we've never come to grips with it. We've never owned it. It's the issue of racism. The pastor is exactly right. Pandemic on top of a pandemic, impacting our health, impacting our economy, and impacting our capacity to live up to our greatest ideals.